If you look at the map of Iowa and see where the furthest part of the nose is, that's where my family farmed, only on the Illinois side. When I was a child, the road that our farm lane spilled out to was called Seven Hills Road, because there were 7 hills that you could drive so fast on them, you'd hit your head on the top of the car roof. I know because my uncle did this routinely when me and my cousins were in the car with him. Sometime in my single digits, the road's hills were shaved down and the moniker was changed from Seven Hills Road to Frog Pond Road. Completely obscure and not quite as random, and totally random, because there weren't any ponds or any frogs on the road, and not near as glamorous either. After you drove out Frog Pond Road and took a left, in a couple miles you'd run into Route 30. If you took Route 30 east for 2 hours, you were in Chicago. If you took Route 30 west, you went over the Mississippi and into Iowa. When I was a kid, I thought the Mississippi River was the center of the world. And the park on the Iowa side had a replica of the Statue of Liberty, and I thought it was the real thing because, well, I read a lot in those days, but I didn't really share what I learned with anybody, so I came to my own conclusions. As a child, I traveled outside of the house often, picking violets for my mother or playing on the farm with the cats, calves. I dressed the cats up so much that when the salesman came up and saw the cats with clothes on and asked my dad why, he told me I had to quit doing that because it was giving him a bad rap with the salespeople that came. I would spend the summer looking for 4-leaf clovers and sucking honey out of clover. Basically, I knew what every plant on the farm was, and I had a training school for the kittens, if that tells you anything up to how close I was to the cats. Several decades later, I was working in pharmaceuticals in Tucson and in chronic severe pain. I had done what anybody would do in the medical field, and that was I took medication to stop the pain. What happened though is I just kept getting put on more and more medication until one day my pain clinic doctor put me on 2 medications that interacted together, and I passed out when I was driving. I realized if I didn't get a handle on this, it could kill me. And so I made a commitment to try anything and everything to get over my pain and reserve judgment until after it was over. So I did everything. I did rolfing, I did acupuncture, I went to physical therapy, I saw kahuna, and I did past life regression. Nothing worked for any length of time, and most stuff didn't even help me for the next 24 hours. This was a place I was in when I took a class on mediumship with Doreen Virtue. I really didn't think they could make you be a medium in 4 days. I thought, I'll go there and I'll learn how to meditate. And maybe at the last part of the class, like the last couple hours, they would tell me, we would talk to some dead guys. The reality was far different. When I went in, within the first 15 minutes, Doreen said, let's meditate and see who's coming through. And then she said, if your ego's getting in the way, ask your guides to get it out of the way, because they can. And that totally freaked me, because I was like, guides? What guides? I have no guides. And all I knew that wasn't in a body was St. Anthony and St. Francis. So I told them, you have to pony up, because you're the only guys that I know that don't have a body. What I got next was an episode of Magnum P.I. And it was the one where Magnum, and I knew it, it was the one where Magnum was walking, he had been shot, and he was in bed in a coma, but then he was walking on the beach, and there was a John Denver song playing. Trouble is, when Magnum turned around, it wasn't Tom Selleck. It was another guy. And he goes, my name's Jim. So when we broke from the meditation, I got up and I shared this. And this woman gets up and she goes, that's my dad. And I blurted out, he says hi to Jessica and Sarah. And she goes, that's his grandkids. And I was like, holy crap. So in those 4 days, I channeled multiple people. And because I had told Doreen that I was supposed to be an animal communicator, that was the voice that was going through my head, I was supposed to be an animal communicator, we spent a half day talking to animals on the other side. When I got home from that class, somebody told me, well, if you could talk to dead animals, you could talk to live animals, and I could. So I didn't really learn how to talk to animals as much as I just realized I could do it. And I didn't really train on it anywhere. What I found with pets now, it's been 10 years I've been doing this, and what I found with pets is they come for a purpose in their person's life. They don't come randomly. And their purpose usually is to support the human's purpose, whatever that may be. And these animals love us beyond measure, and they come to us time and time again. I had a woman tell me that she called me because she was so upset at her dog. He was chewing stuff, she was having him pee on the carpet. About anything you could do to make somebody mad, this dog was doing. And when she yelled at me, she's like, I don't see how in the heck this dog could have a purpose in my life. What the guides responded with was, this dog came so you could express your anger. And my client got a really small, in a really small, quiet voice goes, oh, he's doing that. I've also had pets come through that have been spirit guides. We all have 30 to 40 spirit guides around us that love us and want to work with us every day. But we ignore them. Most of us don't know they're there. So several spirit guides that are very ambitious, they come back as cats. And then they can ground you when you're upset and in your head too much. And that's their purpose. They sit on these people and they ground them and purr. And that's how committed they are to people, that is what they do. And they are so devoted to it, they will come into physical form again. I don't know if you know this, but cats and dogs pretty much are incapable of lying. The best thing they could do is they could change the subject and say, hey, look over there. Over there is what's good. They also, with cats and dogs, I see a lot of earthbound energy come through. And they see it where the human doesn't. So they may be interacting with a ghost or with an energy that's in the house that's causing them to be upset. And the human has no reason for it. When I first went into animal communication, which I can do everything. I'm a medium, I talk to spirit guides, I'm a remote viewer, I can do psychometry. Basically anything that I tried to do psychically, I could do. So I was kind of like, I guess I want to be in this one niche. This will be just 10% of what I can do, and this is what I'll do. But what I've come to realize in the last couple of years is the dogs and cats and horses are a path to everything. They teach us how to die. I have a lot of clients that would not stay in the room when their parent was dying, but they will stay in the room when their cat or dog is dying. They will honor them as such. And that's the first experience a lot of people have with death, is their cat or dog dying. I have also, in the last couple of years, probably about 3 times a month, I have clients that the dog or cat comes through, it comes through reincarnated and back in another body. And so they're also leading us for that. They're leading the direction about being reincarnated, about telling us that life goes on, and this physical form is not the end or the last physical form. The path I've been on has allowed me to trust more fully. Dogs and cats will do that for you. A cat comes for a day, it stays forever sometimes. The Egyptians thought cats were the gods of joy. And 51% of all cats in the United States that people have are strays. One of the greatest purposes I realize that animals have in our life is they make us unique. For every time I've shared a story of the dogs I have known or somebody's read my book, I am met with 20 other stories by people that are happy, their faces glowing, talking about, they're excitedly sharing the amazing stories of the dogs and cats they've been enamored with through their lives. Our dogs give us that glory, that each one is singular, that to know one dog is to know one dog. And just like the stars in the sky, they all shine differently. That is their gift. That no matter what the human turmoil, travesty, or blue mood we may be embroiled in, our pet lifts us out of that, and even for seconds makes us feel extraordinary. The very fact that they are one of a kind, that to know one golden retriever is to know one golden retriever, and they're each separately alike. Our lives are lifted out of the mundane, the ordinary, with the flash of waving tail, a lopsided grin, a head roll. We are transformed into lovers of life because joy is contagious. Pets and humans have been commingling with each other for about 50,000 years. Dogs and cats and people. And we depend on each other. That has been my gift, to know that. And to know that they share our lives. What I have found and what I have come to believe is even animals in the shelters, they have come to put love on the line. And that they are there for us to choose them and love over war or weapons or the 1,000 other things we spend our time with that doesn't connect us to our heart. And we need to answer that call and be with them in a more present way.